Hello, Heath the Car-Theist here. We've decided as ExGarage to do little short videos over just presenting the Christian worldview. What is the Christian worldview, or a biblical worldview? And so we'll start doing short 2 to 3 minute, maybe some will be a little longer, but the aim is to keep them short. Videos where we just go through systematically what do we as Christians believe, and thus showing positive evidences and reasons for why we believe what we believe and why we believe this is the correct worldview, the worldview that is actually presents the world in which we actually live in. So we'll do it in little short clips, going through it systematically, like a systematic theology, where we'll tackle maybe one topic in how God's revealed Himself, revelation, the questions of epistemology. How do you know what you know? Why do you know? Or on what basis can you make that a knowledge claim, etc. And then we'll go into topics with subheadings, so like soteriology, salvation. What does it mean to be saved? Who is Savior? Who's the object of salvation? Things like that. All the way through to eschatology, last things, the study of the telos of reality. Where is everything heading? Well, the new heavens and new earth. What does that look like? So we'll go through that, presenting a biblical worldview and why it is the worldview that corresponds to reality, and reveals the God of over reality. So in this one, we'll start with the first things, which is epistemology. How do you know what you know? Revelation is another term for this, just to categorize it. And I think the first thing we must do in terms of how do we know what we know, or grounding knowledge, is that we do not live in an existence where it is a godless existence. Even a well-informed atheist, they take that title, will say that they just believe that there's not enough evidences to make the assertion that God exists. However, the biblical worldview would say, no, all the inferences in reality necessitate God's existence. So it's not a question of whether or not God exists, but who is this God who exists? Who is He is the question. Not whether or not He does. Creation proclaims His glory. To start with the assumption that God does not exist, to make that definite claim, would mean to say that your life is meaningless, that the origin, formation, and purposes of life are absolutely happenstance. And so at no point thereafter can you attach true meaning to your life and your existence. Your family is meaningless. Your relationships are meaningless. The end goal of your life is meaningless. No matter what goal you construct for yourself or impose upon yourself, you know in your conscience that is just from yourself, and you are not an eternal existing being who is from himself or herself. And so it is utterly meaningless to apply meaning to your life in a meaningless world. So that is out of the question. A godless world does not exist. We live in a world filled with meaning. Our hearts seek for meaning each and every day. Again, indicative of a meaningful universe, a meaningful God who created us. So again, it's not whether or not God exists, it's who is this God who exists. And the biblical worldview says that God is transcendent. He's before all things, and therefore He must reveal Himself through the things He has created. So God's revealed Himself generally in a general manner, and that's called general revelation, and that's through His works in creation. We can know something about God through the things He has made, just as we can know something of a builder from something he or she has built, and all the more when it comes to our Creator. And then there's special revelation. This is where God specifically revealed Himself to humanity. He has spoken to us in a language that is suited to our capacities. That is, particularly, He spoke first through the line of Israel, through the people of Israel, to reveal to all of humanity who is this God, His nature, His character, our human condition, how we find healing through the death and resurrection of the promised Messiah. So God's revealed Himself in His Word, specifically to each and every one of us. And And so those are the two forms of, not forms, but two ways in which God has revealed himself. In his works in creation, and that we know him generally by, and then through his word we know him specifically, that he's spoken to us in such a manner that we can come to know him as he has revealed himself. Again, God's transcendent. He's before all things. He must reveal himself to us. And God has condescended and spoken to us through the prophets, revealing his majesty, his glory, that we were created good, etc., etc. And that goes into other topics. So again, I hope this was helpful and also encouraging to know that we do not live in a godless world, but a God world. We live in a world that magnifies him, and that we get to know this God who would condescend and reveal himself to us, namely through the person and work of Christ. Now, I know this video is a little longer than 2 minutes, I'm assuming, but this was the opening, so I'll just, and it's epistemology. It's a broad topic, and so this threw out a lot I would like to explain more on, but again, I hope it was helpful. ExGarage.